ready for this?
Let's find out.
The cost of freedom is always high. No one can foresee precisely what course it will take. One path we shall never choose. That is the path of surrender.
Listen to me very carefully, my friend. Killing will not bring you peace. Peace was never an option.
Hi, I'm Kat.
I'm Mike, and this is Yokoloko. Are you lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're a good friend, you're an honorable friend, you're a friend that cleans dirt off of my face.
Thank you, sir, and your feet.
Yep. You remember my birthday?
Okay, you need to leave that alone, man. I forgot your birthday once. I'm sorry.
Once!
You'll actually watch my new channel?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Unlike...
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
See? Doesn't care.
What? He's your best friend.
I'm Jay.
So today we're reviewing X-Men First Class, starring Catherine Jovi.
And you're the class clown.
Who's your favorite mutant?
For badassness?
No, I'm just waiting for an answer. Staying forever.
Okay, mine was Magneto.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was
Yeah,
badass.
Magneto
The
was
beginning of the
badass.
film reminded me of Inglourious Bastards. He was going on this huge rampage across the earth trying to find somebody, and it was just amazing.
They didn't water it down or anything. Like, the first few scenes with Magneto as a kid was pretty gruesome.
And there's moments where they show people dying for once.
Crushing Nazi helmets so their heads crush.
Wow, that was brutal.
That's very creative and interesting for Magneto
Yep.
to do.
There's hardly any blood in this movie.
Yeah, it's not gore.
But there is more of a
Lot of killing.
seriousness. There's
Lot
a
of killing.
lot of death.
A lot of
and
death.
there's some moments with some swearing that I wasn't expecting.
So it basically follows the story of how the two guys become friends at first, Eric and Xavier, and then how they start to work together, and then and then obviously it shows how they differ in their ways and how they, you know, start their X-Men and start their brotherhood.
Yes.
Also, there's this cameo, which was hilarious. It's just like for a really quick, like, what's up? Although, don't wait for the end of the credits. There's nothing at the end.
No,
I
a doll
didn't.
theater and a crying me.
Nice little jokes that have reference to the other movies.
They just set it up so well, giving all the background stories. You know, why he's in the wheelchair, how the Beast became the Beast.
How the shit became the fart.
How Hank McCoy became Beast. It shows all of the origins of these characters.
And how-
it really, no one in the film really cuts each other off.
Not like me. I love cutting people off.
In the past X-Men films, you never really see how serious X-Men can be until you've seen this film. There's a scene where Magneto uses a knife. It startled me. This is amazing.
And you finally understand Xavier and Magneto's relationship because, you know, on the first X-Men movie that we've seen, they say, "Hello, old friend," and you're like, "Old friend?"
Yeah,
These
I
guys,
thought
do
you
they
guys
hate
were
each
arch
other?
enemies.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going on?
All the characters are interesting, amazing to watch. It's just a fun movie watching all these.
It's amazing.
And it brings up the questions that the first two movies, like, what would you do if you were a mutant?
And then also all the training of, like, being able to harness those powers and use them in
Yeah.
a productive way. Like, Banshee at first, like, you know, he can, like, break glass. But then, you know, they focus it and then he can fly. Amazing.
Probably the most annoying mutant to have, though, right? The
Yeah,
screaming.
the
It kind of
screaming
was
would be-
And I was in the ETX theater, and the sound was just amazing. But every time he screamed, my nipples would jiggle.
It was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who did Kick-Ass.
Now that's a director I can get into.
Damn right.
Now, Mike, let's get to the bottom of something here. What's the #1 comic book movie ever?
It's The Dark Knight.
What's the third one?
Third one, I'd say Spider-Man 2
Iron
or
Man.
Iron Man.
And what's the second?
Second is the movie that we're reviewing now,
X-Men.
X-Men First Class.
Yes.
It did it. It did it. All the mistakes that Last Stand did with too many characters, this one didn't have that flaw. Somehow it managed to focus on all these characters at the same time, which I didn't think was possible.
Wolverine was a disaster. The story was just wretched. The writing in this was spectacular. Yes, there was some cheesy lines. The actors pulled them off pretty well.
Yeah.
They were cheesy, but they were funny. Like when you first see Beast with all his hair, he looks like a cookie monster. Still, you know, make fun, and then he goes, "Oh," and then you're like scared of him,
You're like,
right?
"Ah,
You don't want to joke around with Beast.
And the acting was really good. Solid throughout, except Miss Frost. I was not into her.
Right.
A lot of her lines, I was like,
She's
really?
from Mad Men. She's Don Draper's wife. She's not a solid actor, but she is stunning.
And
Yeah,
she
she
slept
is
with the
gorgeous.
director, apparently.
James McAvoy is Charles. I think he also did a great job. He fit the role really well.
Like, you've never seen him this young, obviously. He really made him his own. I like how at the beginning he's like a ladies' man.
Yeah, like using nerdy lines to like pick up ladies.
And you know Patrick Stewart would totally be in on that too.
Oh, he would totally be in on
he
that.
loved
Yeah,
it.
Patrick Stewart.
Guaranteed he loved it. But the film really is not necessarily about Charles. It's more about Magneto getting revenge.
That's what I love about this film. You don't see many films out there that have two protagonists.
Yeah.
There's two leading men in this, and they carry themselves so well, and the characters are so strong. You like them both. Just them talking and playing chess is amazing.
Michael Fassbender, I think is his name. He was in Inglourious Bastards. He was awesome too. He did such a great job. Such intensity. Wow.
But the point being, it could have been really bad. This movie could have been really, really bad.
I was worried.
But it really...
It knocked my socks off.
Yeah, it
So
really
impressive.
is very good. I just watched it, and I think over the next couple days it'll really set in how good it was.
And I could totally see buying this, watching it over and over again.
Yeah.
I get that same feeling when I watch Star Trek.
It's relaunching the series, and it really makes you want to see another...
You're really curious to
cool.
know what's going to be happening after this.
But at
and
the same time, I fear the next one.
it's true. It's true.
Not necessarily.
And-
I mean, they're on a roll.
I like this one a lot, though, because it dealt with a real event in history, the Cuban Missile Crisis. Kind of played and tweaked with what would have happened if mutants did exist.
And just also, like, the powers were all done really well. It all looked amazing. Like, I think the CGI, they did a great job of it. And you really wanted to know what powers these people had. Like, there's this one scene where they're all like, oh, show us your power, show us your power. And, like, in your head, you're like, hey, show us your power, show us your power. And they're coming up, like, with their nicknames and stuff. It was really neat. Like, it really sucked you in. And then the bad guy was awesome. Kevin Bacon. I didn't realize Kevin Bacon was the bad guy in this.
But German.
Yeah.
Speaking
He was
German.
amazing in this.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Everyone was good in this, except...
Frost.
It's hard to impress people these days with effects, and there's some scenes where planes are crashing and people are rolling over and stuff, and everyone in the audience went, whoa. And I haven't heard that for the longest time.
Michael, what do you give this movie?
I give this film a 9 out of 10. What I didn't like about it was there was so much happening and it was so condensed. It didn't stay in one place for 3 minutes. It was going from location to location, location. If someone has like extreme ADD, they're gonna love this film. But sometimes I just want it to like stop and just enjoy the scene, enjoy the setting, enjoy the characters. But it was like jumpy, going from Russia, United States to Cuba, blah 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 blah. Other than that, this is an excellent film. Like we said before, Dark Knight, X-Men First Class.
I'd have to agree. I give this movie a 9 as well. Like Mike said, yeah, it is kind of all over the place, but I'm kind of ADD, so for me that worked quite well. Really, just mainly that girl. She really kept bringing me out of it. She was gorgeous, of course, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a 9. Amazing. Great movie. The storyline was great. I love hearing all the background stories. It was awesome.
Jason, what do you give it out of 10?
I give this a 9 out of 10. I think some of the drawbacks are definitely, yes, it jumps all over the place and you're constantly like, you're watching something unfold, but you're feeling like, well, I wish we could just stay there longer. I definitely agree with that. It could have been another half an hour long and I would have loved it.
Yeah.
A lot happens.
A lot happens.
Although it's a decently long movie.
The best part about this film is it's the first X-Men film with actual, I believe, intensity. It has dramatic emotion in it. To achieve that with such wonky characters, with such ridiculous abilities, pull that off is spectacular. So this really does it. So that's why I like it.
I like me.
I like me too.
I don't like myself. You always see him picking shit up and throwing it around, but you never get to see him use like a knife. You know, throw it, but until you watch this film, you don't realize how serious... Well, I don't know where I'm going with that one. Hang on.
I don't know. Jay, what do you give this movie?
I always go first.
No, you don't. You always go last.
I'll
Don't
go
give us that
first.
bullshit.
You go.
He always goes first.
It's hard to impress. It's...
3 kilobytes.